Hello everyone, it's me Priya here. Today's session will help you to understand about children behavior and disciplinary techniques. Children behavior is unique for every children. For them, it is the only means of communicating to the society. Every behavior has its own meaning. Parents have to be patient, understand and learn to be effectively interpret with their infants' communication, which helps them to feel secure. Understanding and knowing about your child is not a single moment. Parents have to move through a journey of observing, understanding and responding to a child's behavior. From this session, you will be able to understand children's behavior in different stages, tracing typical behavior to assess child's temperament, understanding child health status and to know about disciplinary techniques. Do you think all kids will behave in the same way? No. Every child is a unique. Parents are often comforted to know all children behavior in the same way as like child they are dealing with. Parenting is one of the biggest challenge for adult human being, which starts from the day of conception. Every parent has to remember that behavior at all stages of children differ, although typical or average behavior can be identified at their chronological age. Here I am going to explain you how a child's typical behavior will be at a specific age level. Even her chronological age may be younger or older. Every parent should be aware that individual child developmental capabilities and needs cannot be labeled or stereotyped. Let's see how infants will behave. Infants. Do you know who are all infants? Infants are those whose age ranges from 0 to 2 years. Can anyone resist the soft, warm, cuddly baby which is having an innocent smile on her face? No, not at all. We feel like holding, hugging, kissing, feeding and caressing. All these for a baby are absolutely a necessary part of developing positive mental, physical, emotional and social development. So, first years of life are very much important for the infantile development. Careful planning of basic care and nurturing routines will help the child to develop better emotional, social, intellectual and physical growth. Lazy or haphazard care will damage overall growth and development and leads to a greater risk for the child. Now I am going to tell you about common infants' behavior which you can observe generally. Now the first one is baby cries. Are you aware of why baby cries? A typical adult can understand child cries are for the usual problem like changing diaper, hunger, rocking the cradle, for sleep and comfortable. Many parents may not be trained to handle babies who cry, but grandparents or siblings may help to care for the new baby. Now, I am telling you about classical conditioning. When baby begins to cry, usually what parents do? They show toys, rattles, balloons or many other things to make child stop crying. This is called as unconditional stimuli. But when baby may begin to cry, whenever she sees those toys or rattles becomes conditioned stimulus in newborns. Together it is called as a classical conditioning. Then what do you mean by operant conditioning? It is quite different from classical conditioning. This occurs when child unstructured actions such as crying are reinforced by gratifying rewards. Those rewards may be chocolates, eatables or toys. Sometimes older babies do also cry, but this cry may be a fake and is naturally learned behavior from the previous experience. A mother may not respond to this unconditioned rooting reflex may cause child to cry even more and also frustrated because of not responding. Adults or parents are the one who establish routines and habits in day-to-day life with the basic care. If infant cries for a prolonged period, that behavior doesn't stem from manipulativeness or any other kind of conscious intention. rather from internal or external influences. In one of recent scientific studies shows that infants raised by soft, caring, attentive parents in a very safe, predictable environment develop more brain capacity and become more competent learners than infants raised with less attention in less secure environment. The next one is reflexes. Do you know baby's brain has been designed to make certain behaviors automatically from the moment of birth? They progress gradually by reflex behavior and associate things through seeing, feel, hear, taste and smell. Many of these primitive responses will disappear in a few months as your baby becomes more organized and he no longer needs those things. Meanwhile, you can keep tabs on her developments by performing these fun and fascinating checkups. What do you do that? Now, how will you check these things? Here I'll show you. Rooting reflex. If you stroke the side of your baby cheeks with your fingers or breast and she'll turn her head towards it, open wide and begin to make sucking movements with her mouth. Moro reflex. Sit your baby upright for a few seconds with your hands lightly gripping her. She'll throw out her arms and legs and extend her neck as if to say, "Pick me up." Grasp reflex. Stroke your baby's palm with your finger. She'll immediately grab your finger and hold on. Tonic neck reflex. When your baby is lying on her back, gently turn her head to the right. Her right arm will shoot out in front of her and she'll raise her other arms above her head. She'll do the same thing on opposite side if you turn her head to the left side. Withdrawal reflex. When your baby is sitting cheerfully in her bouncy seat, suddenly bring your face close to her. She'll quickly turn her head away in another attempt for self-protection. These are all about reflex behavior. Don't you feel excited to check all these things? Yeah, go ahead and experience with the baby. The next behavior is trust. A famous psychologist, Erik Erikson, says, trust developed during infancy is a primary foundation for strong emotional attitudes which build upon all the way throughout your life. Sometimes baby do cry because of internal distress through classical and operant conditioning, as I have explained earlier. Child can experience dependable and pleasurable responses from the parent. So, parents should be aware of what type of environment has to be provided to the baby to value and trust. Surrounding environment is the first step to develop self-esteem in children. Touching also has an immense effect on children's emotional and social health during infancy. Anxious emotions. Secure attachment during infancy is very important for emotional and social development. Attachment has long-lasting effect on emotional bonding with the primary caregiver. Infants, when securely attached with the parent, have a strong, positive emotional bond. They usually get disturbed when mother goes away from their eyes. Who are all insecure or avoidant infants? These infants have anxious emotional link with the mother and are likely to turn away from her even when she returns. Insecure ambivalent infants are having anxious emotional behavior. Here babies seek near to mother and also angrily contact with her mother when she returns. Sensitive caregiving and secure attachment helps every child to enhance mental growth and minimizes behavior problems. We can move to the next one, thumb sucking. Thumb sucking is very normal in infants and young children. Most babies have a natural urge to suck, but it is not a problem under the age of 4. But many parents push their babies' thumb out of their mouth, but when it won't help them because they doesn't even realize what they are doing. Some parents also put elastic bandages, applying neem juice, covering finger with the cloth, all these look like a punishment to a small children, especially when it becomes a habit to comfort and security. Pressuring a baby to stop thumb sucking also intensifies and do it even more. So just ignore it and you no need to worry about all these problems. Let's move on to the next stage, preschoolers. Preschoolers spend most of their time with the toys and develop distinctive personalities in the form of obstinate, stubborn, disobedient, negative, antagonistic. Young children may not realize what they are doing, but usually express when they feel inside. Parents should always allow them to express their feelings, but when it comes to a negative behavior, parents can say, "No, this is not good. I don't like it and I will not talk to you if you do this again." Sometimes parents also can learn to say that it's okay, but it should not hurt others. Preschoolers often show varieties of emotions and behaviors. Let's see what are all those. The first one is imitation. Preschoolers usually imitate their parents. Here, child not only takes over their actions of their parents but also their feelings, moods and ideas. Temper tantrums. Practically, children experience most of their emotions normally as like adults. For example, anger, fear, jealousy, envy and so on. Guilt. According to Erickson, negative outcome in early childhood causes children to feel guilt due to criticism and punishment given by the parents and adults. Bedwetting. Wet bed always leave bad feelings all around with the children's emotions. Aggravated parents conclude that child is wetting the bed out of laziness. According to National Institute of Health, bedwetting is involuntary urination after the age of 5 or 6 and most of our children experiences it. But kids do worry, there is something wrong with me, especially when siblings tease them. So what to do for this? There is a way. Some behavior therapy helps a child to overcome this problem. You can give limited fluids during bed, keep bedwet alarms, bladder training, rewards for dry bed. All these will help the child to come out of the problems. The next one is self-concept. During early childhood, they develop a set of attributes, attitudes, abilities and values which defines who is she or he. Preschoolers also describe themselves according to their emotions, attitudes which give awareness of their unique psychological characteristics. The next one is possessiveness. Preschoolers are very possessive and always claim their object as, "Hey, it is mine," which is not a sign of selfishness but rather it is a sign of developing selfhood. The next one is self-esteem. Children make their own values and feelings connected with judgment. Self-esteem is the very important aspect of self-development, which will evaluate one's self-efforts that will affect emotions, future behavior and psychological adjustments. The next one is temperament. By age 3 to 4, children learn to verbalize their emotions in a more comfortable way than before. When parents feel difficulty in controlling children's anger and temperament, preschoolers will have continuous problem with the self-regulation and which will later affect their psychological adjustments. Child's temperament also has a negative effect on emotional self-regulation. If children experience negative emotions, that are more likely to respond with the imitation. The next one is empathy. Children who are outgoing and superior in regulating emotions are appropriate in responding others in distress. Parental sensitive reactions will help the child to understand people around them. Let's see what happens in school age. This age is marked by industry versus inferiority. Child wants to take initiative to explore the environment. If he succeeds, he'll be happy and encouraged. and otherwise he feels inferior. These children also show different behaviors. Which are all those? Let's see. The first one is need for security. School-age children seek security. Sense of security is very important even in middle childhood by continuing love, affection, care and proper discipline by parents. The next problem is fear of failure. Fear of failure is very common in school-age children which negatively affect their attitudes. So, children need to be praised for their performance which makes them happier and encouragement. So, all these will make them to correct their behavior. Sibling rivalry. This is also common in middle childhood and it is filled with jealousy if parents have attention with the small ones. Parents should make sure that sufficient attention has to be given to the siblings and make him proud for the new baby. Attention. Attention become more selective, adaptable and planful. These three aspects are very essential for succeed in life. If they fail to pay attention, they will be having serious learning behavior problem with attention deficit disorder. These children are poor in memory planning, reasoning, problem solving and so on. So, parents have to be aware that arguing with children will not help. Instead, they should stay calm, make children pressure free, leave your kids to make wise choice and advocating also help the child to get rid of the problem. Late childhood. This is also called as an adolescent age, teenage and genital age. Complex hormonal changes makes teens to attain growth spurt. Puberty also makes changes in emotional state and social behavior. Let's see what are all the problems that teens possess. First one is moodiness. A change in hormones leads to moodiness and fluctuates in decision making. These feelings are less stable and mood swings are strongly related to the life events, parenting, school environment and peer relations. The next one is body image. Every maturation linked to a positive body image, whereas late maturation leads to dissatisfaction in case of boys. In case of girls, it is reverse. Early matured girls report less positively body image, which will affect their self-esteem and psychological well-being. This may lead to anorexia nervosa, eating disorder, have tremendous high standards to their own behavior and performance. So, what you can do for this? There is a way. Family therapy, parent-child interactions, and counseling will help them to come out of these problems. The next problem is confusion. Adolescent is a period of development of self-concept. Here, individuals are in search of identity and also confused with their own roles. The next one, infatuation. First attraction during teenage is very common. During this age, love may be more like having fun, status symbols, getting know to each other, and moreover it is called as an infatuation. During each and every stage of infatuation, your teen's body is being flooded with hormonal changes, which keeps her going back more. So, parents should know that physical, psychological and hormonal changes keeps your teen to fall in infatuation again and again. So, what to do for this? Parents should develop a close bond as children grows up. Have an open communication. Do not start up with the fight. Blow the issue out of the proportion. So, this way you can understand your children's behavior and their problems. The next topic which I am going to discuss is temperament styles of children. Temperament research begins with Alexander Thomas, who has been found 9 traits as a part of temperament. In that, activity, it means moving and body activities. Biological regularity, it is called eating, sleeping and elimination. Adaptability, how one can adapt to the changes. Approach or withdrawal, how to approach strangers in different situations. Sensitivity threshold. How sensitive to sound, crowd, and texture. Identity of emotional responses. This may be either positive or negative. Distractibility. Each child is distracted from the current situation. Quality of mood. It may be positive or negative. Persistence or as attention span. This may be described as how long one can hold different situations without giving up. All these temperament types can be combined in the form of 3 basic temperament styles. Nearly 65% of all children fall under the category of these 3 patterns. By understanding these patterns, parents are able to modify their parenting approach in the areas as expectation, encouragement, and discipline in order to suit the child's unique needs. The developmental processes characterized are not only mother-child-infant relationship but also father-infant relationships. Let us know about these 3 aspects of temperament in a child. The first one is easy or flexible. These children are normally calm, happy, and regular in eating and sleeping habits. They are adaptable and will not upset easily. Because of their flexible style, parents have to set aside particular times to talk about the child's frustration and hurts because the baby won't demand or ask for it. This communication will be supportive for parent-child bonding. The next one is difficult or active child. Some children are often fuzzy, irregular in feeding and sleeping habits, frightened of strangers and situations, easily disturbed by noise and intense in their reactions. Parents have to provide sufficient areas for vigorous play to work off stored up energy and also frustrations. Slow to warm up children. These children are comparatively inactive and fuzzy. They tend to withdraw or show negative reaction to the situations. This may gradually become positive with the repeated exposures. Parents have to allow a child to get enough time to establish better relationship with the new environment or situations. According to a latest research conducted in 2015 March regarding fathering role in child care, it is found that father's education level has a significant influence on managing child's temperament. Educated fathers experience ease in managing infant's temperament than others. Every behavior of a child is greatly determined by parents or adults. But careful observation, alterations in parenting styles can help infants to behave in an acceptable manner. Now we'll move on to the next topic, health of children. Health is the most precious gift for children which maintained by parents. It is a complete physical, mental and emotional well-being. Many of the parents know basics of maintaining good health of their children by offering healthy and hygienic food, safety and immunization. Along with this, regular medical checkups are also very important to prevent problems. Ensuring good health status of the children requires enough knowledge. So, no parent should be negligent, irresponsible when it comes to a health of child. Other than this, children should also be seen for the following health issues. To promote physical health, parents should have fundamental responsibility in maintaining good health of their child. Parents have to be aware that there are several aspects that will have an impact on physical health. So, one should focus on nutritious food, safety, security to provide optimal promotion of physical health. Children can be suggested to do energetic activities to improve their physical developments, such as walking, moving in and around, running, skipping, jumping, and so on. For mental health, parental role is very important to mentor child with healthy mind through developing personality, knowledge, skills, and habits. Parental verbal language, care, cuddling, appreciation, prompt response, rewards, all these are all helpful for promoting good mental health. To promote emotional health, children learn emotions by parental attitudes. Parental communication, feelings, healthy nurturing, reasonable rules, interactions, all these improves child's self-esteem. This will make them to emotionally a healthy child. Every children are vulnerable in society, so every parent should be aware of preventing common childhood health related issues, proper immunization schedule, hygienic environment, nutritious food, and safety. All these can be provided by parents or a caregiver. Now, at last, I am going to tell you about disciplinary techniques. Discipline is the process of teaching a child what type of behavior is acceptable in the society. Disciplinary techniques can be organized by parents to confirm expected patterns of behavior from their children. Diana Baumrind, a famous scientist, has identified these three types of parenting styles. They are authoritarian parenting style. This is an extremely strict form of parenting style which expects child to follow a strict rules and regulations set by their own parents. This is a form of high parental demandingness which has low parental responsiveness. The next one is permissive parenting style. These parents are more responsive than they are demanding. They are non-controlling, don't defer punishment, and also doesn't serve as a role model. They seem more likely to be a friend rather than a parent. The next one is democratic parenting style. Here, children are encouraged to make their daily choices followed with their parents. Here, parents are also respected and treat their children followed by rules which will have good and bad choices. In this, parents want their children to understand why certain behaviors are acceptable and why should be avoided. These are all about parenting styles and disciplinary techniques. Now, I hope all of you should have understood what are the children behaviors in different stages, what are the child's temperamental styles, health status of the individual, and disciplinary techniques. Now, can we go for conclusion? Keeping arguments with the children, pointing out the behavioral problems will increase the crisis rather than resolving. So, what you have to do is identify the problem and solve it carefully. Our kids are always playful and come up with the wounds. Parents are always should be there to put bandages and heal the wound. Our children require us most of all to love them for what they are, not to spend our whole life trying to correct them.